This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Welcome to the Starlight Ballroom. Hey!
Hello everyone and welcome to Shipwrecked Comatose, the Red Dwarf podcast here on the Film Stories Podcast Network. My name is Kurt North. Joining me for the second week in a row is Colin Jackson-Brown.
Hello.
How are you doing, Cole?
I'm all right.
Are we going to have a better week than last week?
Yeah. We've got a better fucking episode than last week, so I hope so.
Good. Mark is here with us as well, as always.
Hiya. Still a bit croaky, still a bit squeaky.
Are you actually have any alcoholic beverages tonight, Mark? Or are you just going to be laying off that you're on the buttercup or something?
I'm drinking Lapsang Souchong.
Okay.
Chinese tea in it.
Great. Well, let's dive into this episode. This episode is Mechocracy. It was aired on the 2nd of November, 2017. It's episode 71 overall, and it's a lot better than last week. That's where we'll start.
It is, but one thing did massively piss me off. Where is fucking Vendor Bar?
And hot drinks.
Where is Snacky? What the actual fuck?
Perhaps they're scabs and they didn't join the protest.
Vendor bar.
I'm fuming. It's a great episode, it is, but fuck, why didn't you bring back Vendor Bar?
When you first saw Vendor Bar and you started talking about them, it's like, oh, I hope they come back. I'm going, you're going to be disappointed, but they do.
I am disappointed. I'm bitterly disappointed.
So we'll start at the very beginning because, as you all know, Crichton's my favourite character. And this is one of my favourite Crichton moments of all time. It is absolutely brilliant. I could have gone on this for another 5 or so minutes.
I was thinking about this. If this was in Promised Land,
yeah,
and we were having to do it minute by minute, the first 40 seconds of the episode is Crichton sitting completely in silence. It's brilliant. It seems longer as well, but it could have, they could have extended it longer. This whole scene and the next one leading on from it, this sequence at the start is utterly brilliant. I love this whole section.
This is something you can imagine Holly doing. You can imagine this being Holly.
Sure.
You know, you could. So the fact that he's like, he looks, and he's going to look just generally looking, and the timing of when he smiles, he does that little turn up and smiles, and you get a laugh off the audience and stuff, which again is playing up to the audience, which is great. It's up there for me. It's not as good as Is He Swedish, but it's up there in like a long form joke, which is, I know it's the first part where I've like instilled right through the whole episode, but it's a gag that builds up, and when you think it's actually done, you get the payoff literally like 5 minutes later, which I think is wonderful for the beginning part of the episode.
Fully agree. It's just a really clever, fun scene that, again, every time Rimmer gets humiliated, it's going to be funny, but this is particularly well done. It's
so clever.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that it's like lesson 1, just get on with it. Section 2, too many things to do. Lighten the load. Delegate. And then it's like create some more time. Feel less rust. And he goes, "What B deck?" It's like great, perfect. And you think that's the end of the joke. That's what's brilliant about it. And it's again on top of that with Crichton as well. The thing on Rimmer, but the Crichton way is going, it's patience, sir. Patience. We're doing patience. No, that was patience was last week. It's manipulation. And it's like, oh no.
How well do you think you were doing? Well, up until a few minutes ago, I thought I was heading for an A.
Yeah, I was heading for a first. That's what. Yeah, brilliant. And it just leads right into the next scene with the yellow alert, and
just where he polishes the yellow alert and just completely doesn't notice it and comes back. It's not even a double take; it's a triple take.
Yeah, it's still not as good as the double take in what's it called? My head's gone. Season 7.
I don't remember that episode.
Series 7, JFK 1.
Oh yeah. Ticket to Ride.
Still not as good as the one in Ticket to Ride.
Yeah,
and in the bookstore depository.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it looks horrendous without the audience, but with the audience, it works. There's listers like downloading some e-cargo.
which is like, that's French for snails, isn't it?
That's escargot.
To me, this whole downloading virus, a Trojan horse, whatever, this kind of feels like the most modern thing they've done.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
At the moment, our IT team keeps trying to catch people out and doing like little tests, and they think they're really fucking clever. They sent one out today, and it was like, click here, you could be entered into a prize draw to win £200. So nobody fell for that at all.
And the way that Lister plays it as well, like it's like the SOS virus that we get told in school, like that. It's like, yes. His humility there as it works really well, actually, as part of the joke.
It's like as it's sort of dawning on him, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, as you say, in the modern thing, you will get people who have done that, that will go, yeah, I've just done it. I realise I've just done it. I'm going to have to go to IT now and say, I've done a boo-boo. So it's definitely, but it's interesting. I didn't think of it that way, but it's definitely something from a modern perspective that we don't often see in Dwarf.
I did that actually in my first job. Like I was 22, maybe. I clicked a link and got jiggly boobs. So
wrong target audience.
I know.
That's the thing. That was what I went to my boss and I said, I didn't really look at it. It's boobs. And genuinely, because it was tits, and I felt like I'd got a case to like be believed. But imagine if I clicked on meatspin.com or something. I'd have never had a job. Do you remember Meatspin?
No.
I am familiar with it, yes.
It's probably still there. I'm going to have a look now.
We're talking about workplace security breach and IT breaches. I used to work for the council years ago, and the chief executive and some of the other people for this like charity thing.
I've just found meatspin.com. It's still going. After all this time, meatspin.com is the thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it just blasted "You Spin Me Right Round" at me, and I couldn't hear what you were saying, and it was really funny because there was this big dick spinning around, and I'm so sorry.
That's your entertainment sorted out for the evening then.
And people wonder why this podcast gets derailed.
Swinging around like a helicopter. Go to meatspin.com.
So you know when a prolific podcaster comes onto a podcast and does a podcast and does multiple podcasts, and it's a real serious contender for podcaster of the year, and then comes onto this shithole where there's penises being put round on a website. With "You Spin Me Right Round" blasting out from the website. This is the things I've got to try. I'm being tested on.
You fucking delete this. Meatspin is great content. Oh, that's made my day. I'm going to send that link to all my friends.
Anyway, a BBC turns up.
No, when I was working at the council years ago, there was the chief executive and like some of the other really high up managers were going to do this, like, there was like a variety show sort of thing, and they were going to dress in drag, but he'd got like size 14 feet or something like that and wanted to get some high heels. So the only way he could find out to do that was to go on a foot fetish website, which he did on a work computer. Immediately, IT turned up at his office within about 10 minutes going, "Sir, did you mean to do that?"
I had to get special dispensation when I worked for Benefit Fraud back in the day to go on to an escort website.
Of course. If you
to find some people making money. That was quite nerve-wracking because obviously I worked in Benefit Fraud from 1999 to 2006. That's like 19 to 26. So I was only a 20-year-old lad. And I'm like being asked, can you go onto this escort agency website, just search for such and such and see if you can find this person?
Did you have to go as far as hiring the person?
No, I didn't have to go that far. But yeah, but going on a work, proper work laptop, it kind of had to be like IT had to set one up specifically for me to be able to go onto it and all that kind of thing.
Did you hire the person regardless of not having to hire the person?
No.
Did you hire someone else that was prettier?
No.
I do remember at the same job at the council, there was somebody phoned up to complain about there's like a lay-by that was apparently quite well known for dogging. This guy that I worked with was very enthusiastically noting down exactly where it was. Like, that's disgusting. Where?
Can you just can you give me the what 3 words, please? So I can get within half a metre.
Colin.
No, it wasn't.
Moving on. The demote you, promote you scene feels to me classic Dwarf.
Perfect.
Yes. And bringing back, talking about Lister's gran who raised him, another sort of, bit of Red Dwarf lore.
I think the way that Rimmer really kind of gaslights him to because he's like to 2.5, and it's like your gran would have been really proud of you, wouldn't he? Wouldn't she?
So manipulative in this in that scene.
It goes with it, but it also goes with the actual theme, doesn't it? Because obviously he's been manipulated in the last scene.
Yeah,
true.
He's getting his own back, even though it was Crichton that did it, not Lister. But it was, Crichton uses the phrase "data tsunami" in this scene as well, which I think is a fucking great phrase.
It is great. I really love the delivery of "you're demoted" as well.
You're demoted.
So Rimmy. It's so Rimmy.
Yeah. But even sort of the delivery, because again, this is just a mile away from last week's when he goes promote you. Oh yes, well I'm already promoted, so you can't demote me. Promote you to 2.5. It's just the delivery of every single line. It seems to be meticulously delivered perfectly. And as I say, the bringing the gran in and Lister being apprehensive, knowing I know what you're doing, but he still falls for the trap. And I just like the interplay. And it's, I'd say, it's almost like Red Dwarf 1, 2 era, isn't it? That kind of feel to it.
But it's rare that Rimmer actually outwits Lister.
Yes. Yeah, it's a rare victory.
Yeah, and we've had lots of Rimmer being outwitted and humiliated by Lister, but this one still feels right because he does try to outwit Lister a lot, and you're not always going to have Lister winning, and I really like it.
It's classic.
Yes, Mr. Lister, sir.
The SOS virus has taken hold. They are suggesting that they collect all essentials and abandon ship. So we need to abandon ship, to which we do. And we end up in a corridor with some dispensers. No logo.
I'm fucking fuming. Fuming.
They're just on a different corridor.
Did they mention Z deck and B deck as well? So they're just on a different. It's a massive ship. It's 5 miles long, isn't it? So they're there. They're there.
Flippantly during this particular scene, I was enjoying it and I wasn't making notes. What I've written is "Supermassive Black Hole" is a great song.
Well, it is.
It is though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great song. Why?
This is the intellectual content that people were looking for. They don't look for intellectual content here. They'd probably just look for us saying weird shit, repeating ourselves, and being a bit lefty, don't they?
I've got a question for you. Because I didn't do any research, because I am assuming Colin has. Who's Pestles? Because Pestles reading glasses.
No idea on that one. That is not something that
It wasn't something that stuck out to me either. But no, I think the reading glasses thing is great. I think the gentle reminder that they're getting older. And for me, it's the opposite way around because I'm really short-sighted. Everything goes to shit if I bring a book close to my face, so I take my glasses off to read. And I fucking hate it. I feel so damned old that I have to take my glasses off to read. It drives me insane. So I think that really kind of resonated with me that he was putting on his reading glasses. And fuck, brutal.
What that scene really reminded me of him mocking him for the glasses was, this is a sitcom that I've not watched in a very long time and I don't think it would hold up very well. But I used to absolutely love watching men behaving badly.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an episode in that where Tony got glasses And
That's true. I remember now you've said it.
is that something people get mocked for so much these days? It seems like a particularly sort of 80s, 90s thing to mock people for. It might be just that I've got glasses now, so I think they're cool.
I gently mock myself occasionally, particularly with the taking my glasses off to read thing, over exaggerating how cross I am that I have to take my glasses off to read, for example. But I don't think it's done in a vitriolic way. At 46, though, I won't be friends with someone who takes the piss out of me because I wear glasses. So I don't know, is the answer. Ask your daughter, is she young?
Yeah, but she wears glasses, so...
Well, then she'll know if she's been bullied for it.
Yeah, I don't think she has. Mainly because I think the person that would be likely to do the bullying also wears glasses. So, yeah.
And also, I wouldn't put it past LED lamping someone that treats her like shit.
Update on Pestle. Pestle is a Mechocracy only comment. So
Right.
it does say, so they do have obviously a fandom, Red Dwarf fandom page, but it is all about this episode. So yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, Pestle, so the reading glasses, that's as I say with Rimmer going like, so I see you, and like 4 eyes, a jolly good fellow, and all that kind of stuff was quite good. But before we get there, we do find out that all of the machines aren't going with them, but there's other stuff that is. Crichton says he's found something that he needs to take. Cat's got his suitcases, but the vending machines are not going.
I'm not bothered about the others, but fucking Snacky and fucking Vendavar should be saved. Particularly Snacky, actually, when you think about it. He fucking said, oh, Snacky. You might as well leave Crichton.
It does open up a sort of ethics about whether or not it's alive and that kind of thing, though, which is you could get sort of quite deep into. Obviously, Crichton is a member of the crew, but the way that you can interact with these other machines on board,
and Lister has,
it's the way that you can interact and you can have meaningful conversations.
He put his hand on her logo. How dare you? Who does that? Put a hand on my logo.
So I think the vending machines is deliberately a gag that, they are just vending machines, but they are doing this. The problem is that Snacky is still there, and Snacky is as valid as Crichton. He broke his programming and has self-determination. Where is Snacky?
5 miles away at the other end of the ship. Just haven't had time to go and get him.
1 mile away.
No, Snacky has commandeered Blue Midget and has fucked off having his own adventures.
And he's dancing.
So
he's dancing outside of Blue Midget. That's what Snacky's doing.
I would watch the adventures of Snacky in a heartbeat. And let's be real, it's probably going to be better than Titan.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. It's gone remarkably quiet on.
Are we even going to get fucking Titan?
I don't know.
If we do, I will be like, put on your big boy pants. I can't see it being good.
You see, they're still saying Red Dwarf Titan on Tongue Tied. They're saying it's an upcoming special due to be released late 2024.
Really?
Yes.
They haven't got much time left.
No.
Have there been any reports of them starting filming?
No.
No. It's not going to be this year, is it? Surely.
No. Well, they were still reaching out for investors and stuff. So
it would be a massive deal, the casting of a new Lister and a new Rimmer. They would have announced the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So search for Red Dwarf Titan on IMDb. No results found.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean,
things like this do take time. I think it might have been over ambitious to announce the exact date if they were saying later this year. Just like if you're planning a really epic minute-by-minute long podcast of a...
due to be released in February 2025.
We got fucking months. And who goes on Twitter these days?
Subject to change.
We announced that we were going to do Series 12 by the end of the year, and we've fucking done it. Nearly.
Yes, that's nowhere near as much of an undertaking.
It was like I said in the very first 2 episodes of this series, I was still editing Red Dwarf 11. That's unheard of. It wasn't. It was like I'm still literally editing episodes of Red Dwarf 11 when Red Dwarf 12 was being recorded. That's just not on.
Unheard of.
Just not unheard of. Unheard of.
We're not
You know,
even
very-
rushing. We were just excited because Colin and I got to watch new Red Dwarf.
Yeah. Cat, I know it's done for thing, but it's like, give me some milk over here. He's a little bit short with our dispensers before they go on strike.
Yeah. But I think that's to show that they aren't appreciated.
No.
It's all giving it reasons for things to happen, which is what was missing last episode. One of the many fucking things that were missing. This episode it's really well written. And you've got little things like that that do build up towards things that will then have consequences later on in the episode.
Yeah. And then obviously the Rimmer thing with Crichton as that builds up, because it's like Crichton just completely ignores Crichton. But yeah, there's like, jog on, mate. And all that kind of stuff as well. But it's equal rights. Once out, all out. Lifts out, scutters are out, vending machines are out.
Another thing, there was an opportunity to bring back Bob.
Well, there's two scutters that did pull. There's two scutters that pulled the thing.
Yeah, one of them could have been Bob.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love that there's a Scudder cameo, because that's what it is. It's a cameo, isn't it? And it's great. But there was an opportunity for Lister to say, even you, Bob, and do his head. That would have been such a fantastic little nod to the only good thing from Series 8.
I was going to say, you take me back to Series 8. It's like, no, wrong number.
Oh, exactly. And just one line mentioning Bob would have been good.
It would have been good. So
they could have even brought back the little baby Scutters. Oh, no, they were on the opposite world, weren't they? They were on the alternative dimension with Hilly and the dog.
Parallel universe. Yeah. Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they go on strike, and there's no the oxygen's going to go out, heat's going to go out, the waxing kit's going to go, everything.
That's so catty. That's a Red Dwarf Series 1 joke. An absolutely Red Dwarf Series 1 joke, and I'm all here for it. It was beautiful.
Me being a full-on left-wing pro-strike person.
Are you a pro-strike person?
I am. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
I've
okay.
mentioned that before. But yeah, obviously it's important to say at this point that protests are supposed to be disruptive.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to inconvenience people. If a protest doesn't inconvenience anybody, it will have no impact because everyone can ignore it. But then you've got the two separate groups talking about how they're going to resolve the problem, where they are essentially two separate groups of oppressors talking over the oppressed minorities. Crichton obviously is part of that group, but Crichton essentially is like a Suella Braverman. It's someone who, if they did not have their status, the other people against that minority would hate them just as much. They could have gone more into that, but then it wouldn't have been anywhere near as funny.
No, but he did. Rimmer does use a great line in that time smashed down in the bulldozer of enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's a great line. Bulldozer of enlightenment.
Obviously, they need Crichton to be able to liaise with...
Shut up,
the
I'm
machines.
talking.
All right.
So I want to point something out that I thought was a bit on the nose anyway, when they had a racist dispenser.
Yeah.
That was clever, but I don't think they should have done it. And the reason for that is they had a actually racist dispenser by having someone who wasn't Taiwanese playing Taiwanese Tony. And it's just like, you can't make that gag because you fucked up before.
But at the same time, that was a spot-on fucking parody of when Gordon Brown met that woman that was complaining about where
Bigoted woman.
These Eastern Europeans, where are they coming from? Eastern Europe, you fucking twat. Yeah, fuck Dispenser 405. The rest of them are fine. But yeah, don't like that one.
Don't like that one. Not buying their goods.
No.
Yeah,
So
so
his logo.
no logo. Dirty logo. So there's a decision that they are both going to run, that Crichton and Rimmer is going to run. And then frivolity ensues.
The set design... Does it count as set design or does it count as prop design when they're making posters and stuff like that?
Posters, yeah.
The posters are great. Crichton and Lister's poster I want on a T-shirt. But then the the fact that Rimmer has decided his party is called the Lovely Fluffy Liberal Alliance Party, which then obviously they're not.
But that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like he's just going to say anything and anything to get onto it. And the suit's a blue suit as well, which didn't exactly.
Oh, I clocked that.
Yeah. He does come across, Chris Barry, as someone who you can imagine being a conservative in the way he's dressed and held himself.
No, because I like him, so don't say that.
Well, no,
Yeah,
because
he's not
he's
done the
also
power stance.
he's also done the power stance, which I was going to say there. So, you know, he's got that. He's got that thing of like he could portray a conservative.
Oh, he could portray a great Tory.
Yeah.
But this was 2017, wasn't it? So obviously to draw on that, they've got the whole from 2016. There was the Brexit thing and the US election where Trump got elected.
Yeah.
Which is
that's why we've got the racist dispenser.
Yeah, and that's why you've got the whole thing about they could do the campaign on what actually matters, but what they're going to do is just keep fucking attacking each other.
Yeah.
Because that's what Trump in particular has brought the level of American politics down to, that it's almost impossible to, do things the right way because it's all fucking
it's
corroded to shit.
It's actually pretty portentous when you think about what happened to Jeremy Corbyn not long later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not talk about Jeremy Corbyn.
Let's not talk about how he would have been the greatest prime minister.
No, he would not have.
We've had a vote, and two of us think he'd have been great.
Carry on. No, thank you.
Captain Centrist.
That fence must be fucking uncomfortable, the amount of time you've sat on it.
I'm not sitting on the fence there. I'm saying I am not having Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister. I'm sorry. Obviously, Rimmer's going to do it by a line, of course. But Crichton's in this suit and he's struggling because Lister's even going to call him sir, which I thought was a nice little line, as they said.
Dave. Brilliant.
Dave.
Brilliant. And that's the thing. Neither you nor I did that joke justice at all. Because Robert Llewellyn is just so Crichton. And I would assume it is effortless for all of these actors to play these characters now.
Well, they've been doing it for nearly 40 years.
That's what I mean. They just wouldn't be doing these characters if they didn't love them. And part of that love is becoming like a second skin to these actors. And that Dave joke was brilliant because of how long they've been playing these characters.
And then an interesting comment that he makes, because he says, well, machines have already taken over the world.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of a double meaning.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting. And then we move into smear paint territory.
This episode is so clever, so modern, so satirical, and just it makes you laugh, but it makes you think.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they doing last week?
Well, the thing about this Independent Future Party, I mean, I mentioned P and B deck, but they're saying that servicing programs are free. So there's like a free servicing program. There's all this kind of like policy stuff that's hidden within the actual episode itself. But then you get like the flip side of like, and this is something I need to ask the question on, the fact that the smear campaign has the fact that he was looking after a lot of skeletons that have been dead for so long. And what was the other thing? He was literally looking after the dead. And I think he said something along the lines of, there was something else that he said.
I'll be honest, I just read old footage, love heart.
They put that he killed himself twice.
Yes.
Which is great.
So that's the other side, isn't it? Yeah. That's the one I was thinking of, actually. But yeah, that was Rimmer, wasn't it? He says he's killed himself twice. And I went, how many times has Lister actually died? Not Lister. Rimmer died.
Rimmer. Well, 3 that I can think of.
We're talking about all the aces, incredible amounts. We saw them circulating a planet.
Yeah. I think in timeline-wise, it would be twice, probably, because it'd be 8, wouldn't it? It'd be Red Dwarf 8 that they're maybe alluding to.
But also the bit where, I'm alive!
Oh, yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's twice.
Yeah.
So it would be 3.
That's 3.
I'm still not doing my Rimmer thing.
We're never doing that. It was a great idea, and then no.
Then when you look at it and go, actually, there's 5,000. for them.
I've deleted that off the spreadsheet, and I delete nothing from the spreadsheet and specials.
Where did he get a golf cart from?
It's a mile long. Maybe they've got
was
like
gonna
a pitch
say.
and putt.
It's a well, even if they haven't, golf carts don't just get used on golf courses. When I used to work at Drayton Manor, we'd got golf carts for driving I used to work on the games where it's like, chuck 3 balls in a bucket and win a teddy and stuff like that. And there were golf carts that we used to drive with a trailer to put all the toys in to deliver them at the start of the day and bring them back at the end and stuff. So
They have something similar at airports, don't they?
exactly, a ship that's 5 miles long, that makes perfect sense that you'd have some kind of little vehicle to drive around to get between.
Great addition. It's just a shame we've taken 12 series to get to see one. But yeah,
Also,
no, it was good.
There's a bit where Crichton, I can't remember if it's Crichton says it himself or someone else refers to him as Crichton 2X4B. That's his middle name. It's
Such a geeky middle name.
But it'd be Crichton 523P if you were saying, like Colin Jackson-Brown. That'd be like calling me Colin Peter.
Yeah, so it's not fit to be trusted. And also, what I really like about it is this like slight nuance thing. It's like the Rimmer one, which I didn't mention, when Rimmer's like sort of endorsing the message and he pulls that face. It's just brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant. And then on Lister's one, Lister's like feeling uncomfortable and he's the one kind of going, no, we can't. Well, Crichton and Lister are feeling uncomfortable doing it, aren't they?
Crichton cuts him off with I'm Crichton and I approve this message earlier than Lister was intending to.
So I like that nuance in the two of them. And then we get to the debate because obviously going back to, like you say, within especially UK politics, debates have been a recent thing in general, you know what I mean? So
was it Brexit was the first time that we did them?
It might have been.
I think it was definitely the first time they were televised, I think.
Potentially.
Particularly in such a formalised way.
Because there was a big scramble for it for a while, wasn't there? And then they eventually did get them on. Do I believe that questions of silicon heaven and blenders and calculators go and old owners? Yes, I do.
I do. It's the bit about deleting documents.
Oh, that's incredible.
That
is genius. That's absolutely genius.
Yeah, it is. Really, really clever.
Yeah, deleting documents. Is deleting documents murder? It's a fully formed file saved. When does a document become a document?
This was written by a man and it wasn't insensitive. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And then Rimmer turns on and says, well, is it when you first type the first word or when you print it out? That's brilliant. That is just like, I'm always impressed with that every time I listen to that bit. I think it's really, really good. And then we find out that they're both neck and neck. We're going to have to go to the garbage hold.
Yeah.
So we're going to the garbage hold, Mark. We're going to the garbage hold.
The garbage hold.
So anyway, Talkie turns up.
Talkie turns
motherfucking toaster.
And there was a bit of a debate on the Zoom call whether or not it was Mr. Ross.
And it is.
And it is.
I'm stunned. How old is David Ross?
He's getting on a bit. He recorded his lines at his local radio station, so he didn't have to go too far. Basically came out of retirement just to do those
Which is
lines.
Remarkable. I thought he got the ump because he didn't get to play Crichton.
He did, but that interview that you're referring to was in the Smegazines in 1993. So that's over 30 years later. He's probably got to the point where it's like, doesn't matter as much now. Maybe he's mellowed in his older age. I love the fact that you'd got the exact same camera angle where Lister's looking right in and you've got like Talkie Toaster's point of view with Lister right up in his face. That's great.
And again, as I say, going back to self-referential, I think certain ones work a lot better, and both the ones in Mechocracy work. One by going back through, because even like Rimmy, you see him in the Gangnam Dress, so you get that thing. You get Crichton with on this mid-digit with the nanobots, and he's giving the finger. You've got like obviously the skeletons and stuff like that. It's done in a way that doesn't feel forced, whereas I think certain other episodes do feel forced, and I don't think it does in this episode. I think Talkie is kind of like, oh, look at that. It could have been quite bad. I think it just gets over the line for me.
Yeah, and I think there is real nostalgia value. You hear the fans, you hear the studio audience cheer for Talkie Toaster. There's real nostalgia value there. But if it had fallen flat after that, it would have been fucking cataclysmic.
Yeah.
And it's just
But it doesn't.
It doesn't. Because they win the vote after a much debate. I think it goes down to 11 pieces of toast at one point. There was like panel chocolates being flown around and all kinds.
There's one point where it's like 4 pieces of toast and a pan of chocolate, and I'm like, very much yes, please. That'll do nicely for me. Well up for that.
We find out the winner, and Kat comes clean about the glasses and gets a little bit of a Star Trek thing in like, what's the best thing to either care about, like being cool or growing up as a person to becoming smarter? And he's instantly in the grind straight off the bat.
It's not even instantly, it's before they finish saying it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It is a quandary. But he makes a very quick decision.
What you got to remember is I've got glasses and I'm cool as fuck. So,
but
it can be done.
But you read from the encyclopedia, the young encyclopedia of Helium-7, though.
No, what I do is I text my dad and then really badly interpret it on the podcast.
And I sound like I've been squeaking Helium-7.
You do. One of the best things Kat's ever done is he locks Rimmer into the garbage holes till Monday.
Would you like some toast? 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 Would you like some toast?
I do fancy some toast now, actually. I might have to go and get my own
I
toast.
might have some toast.
Yeah.
Might have to.
Or a bagel.
That's it. That's the end of the
Or
episode.
a flapjack.
So would you place this near the top of the 6 of this
This
series?
is a great episode. It's just a great episode.
I think this is probably the greatest of the Dave era. I think this is the best episode at least since Series 6.
I will put Trojan above this.
Trojan was good, but no, this is my favourite since Series 6, definitely. I'm really glad that I just randomly ended up picking this. I can't remember if I picked these because everybody else was like, I don't want to do Time Wave. And it was these two are bundled together.
It wasn't that. Matt did his usual of picking the episode he wanted to do. And
yeah.
I think Carl got it into his head that he's the guy who does the first 2 episodes. I think it just landed on your lap by default.
I'm glad it worked that way because it's interesting when we get to do a bad episode and a good episode because it's a nice bit of contrast.
And I think it's landed just in a beautifully peculiar way that you literally got the best and the worst episode of the series. I'm kind of glad for you in a lot of ways because if you'd had a bad one and a slightly bad one, that would have sucked.
I wonder if they realised when they were sequencing the episodes, I wonder if they were like, Time Wave isn't that great, but we've got a banger for the next week, so that will keep people interested.
Nah.
You can normally tell, can't you, that like 12, from a production perspective.
There's no real story arc in the series this time at all, so it doesn't matter what order they go in, does it?
True, and when they did have a story arc and they wanted to switch them around, it fucked up the continuity of Series 6.
Yeah.
I was seeing if it had any production things on Wikipedia, but it doesn't.
That's the thing. With the earlier ones, it's so easy to find the information because we used to get the magazines and we used to get the books and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that kind of culture doesn't really exist as much anymore.
That's peculiar when you think about it. You think we'd have more in a modern world?
Potentially. Perhaps it's because we didn't have so many other things to distract us in the 90s.
No, that's interesting.
So we could focus on, you could hyper-focus on Red Dwarf. Whereas these days, we've got so many other things that if they were to bank on people hyper-focusing on one thing, most people wouldn't do it. So it wouldn't have the audience, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, obviously from a more of an X-Files perspective, like, I was aware of the production. I'm thinking, obviously, American TV anyway, so you have the production codes. I was aware, especially around this time, around 2016, that they swapped quite a couple of episodes around in Series 10 when that came out. Because one, you had to rejig a couple of things, and there was a poster that was advertised, which is around my birthday, and they had to move the date round. I was like, well, it's my birthday, so I'm going to remember it quite well. So I knew that they'd swapped episodes around. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in that people closer to the Red Dwarf fandom would know, because it's one of those where it's recording, is it, of the audience and whether or not it was due to be the first or whatever. But nothing I can see that's jumping out at me from that perspective. Nothing in the background information on there. Interesting stuff. But that calls the end of this week. Colin, you'll be back for Promised Land.
I will. I'm almost certainly some specials before then.
Yeah.
When's this going out?
Probably
You're
yesterday.
back for Labyrinth.
I was going to say, is this before or after Labyrinth?
I'm speaking purely on a Red Dwarf term here.
Fair enough.
Labyrinth. We're all doing Labyrinth. It's fucking Christmas and we're doing Labyrinth.
Because it's got Danny John Jules and Charles Organs in it. So at some point I can say, so anyway, Queeg turns up.
Just waiting for that to happen. But yeah.
I'm so excited. I watch Labyrinth every Christmas, and this Christmas I'm going to get to watch it twice.
Awesome.
It's time for people's social medias. Mr. Jackson-Brown, where can people find you?
I'm going to do my fucking TikTok these days, because fuck Twitter.
I mean, Cure's only got 8 songs on the album, Colin.
You've seen my TikTok then. Excellent.
I have.
That is the most successful social media thing I have ever done. Because currently I did a TikTok video about the new Cure album that's had 11.8 thousand views in the last like 3 days, which is insane. But yeah, so you can find me on TikTok at New Paths to Helicon, talking about usually music, but various other things as well occasionally. Obviously, my other 2 podcasts, Free With This Month's Issue and We Dig Music. You can find them on all podcast apps and wedigpodcast.com.
Excellent. Mark, where can people find you on the internet?
I agree, fuck Twitter, but it's the easiest one to use and I'm stubborn. So at Mark Adams HC on Twitter and Instagram. I talk about lots of stuff on Twitter. I talk about my job on Instagram. And my only other podcast at the moment is Chucky Vision. We are still going to talk about Chucky for as long as we fucking like, despite the fact it got cancelled and my heart is broken. So if you are as obsessive about Killer Dolls as me, at Chucky Vision on Twitter.
I had an idea, right?
Right.
You could, if you run out of things to do to talk about the Child's Play franchise,
Right.
you could turn it into a podcast about the best character in Rugrats, and you won't even have to change the podcast title.
That's delightful. But we are probably going to do Freddy Vision at some point.
Cool.
Nightmare on Elm Street, if you hadn't clocked.
You didn't think it was like, the comedy of Freddie Starr?
Or Freddy One Vision?
Well, actually, what we were going to do, it was just going to be Freddy from Rod, Jane and Freddy.
Bango. Okay, you can find me on Linktree, linktr.ee/rmuldrake. It's RMULDRAKE. And you can find me whoring myself out on all various different podcasts, from this one to the Star Trek to X-Files and to, of course, Lost. Thank you very much. And
No toast!
Shipwrecked and Comatose is a podcast brought to you by the Film Stories Podcast Network.
The show was created and produced by Mark Adams and Kurt North.
The logo was designed by Carl Bryan, and the theme tune was composed and performed by me, Colin Jackson-Brown.
I suppose I'm here as well. Matt Latham.
Follow us on Twitter at Red Dwarf Pod and follow the network on Twitter at Film Stories.
Ma.